All right, today we're diving into a really big topic: how HR consulting is tackling one of the toughest challenges in business right now, what they call human transformation. So let's get into it and see what that actually looks like.
So, let's just start with a question you should probably be asking yourself. In a world that's changing so fast, is your people strategy actually pushing you forward? Or is it kind of like an anchor, just holding you back?
And this phrase right here, this is the mission at the heart of what we're talking about today. See, it's not just about managing people anymore, it's about accelerating their ability to adapt and grow. And that simple idea really guides everything.
Okay, so what does it really mean to navigate human transformation? Well, you can think of it like trying to get through a huge mountain range. You could try to go it alone, but you're way better off with a guide who actually knows the terrain and can see the best path forward.
And that's where this firm's philosophy really clicks into place. It was founded by Wilfred Duvier, and their whole approach is built on three key pillars. First, being pragmatic, coming up with solutions that actually work in the real world. Second, being strategic, making sure everything ties back to the company's biggest goals. And third, and this is so important, being human-centric.
So let's dig into their first area of expertise: strategic HR consulting. You can think of this as the compass for the entire company. It's what makes sure everyone is pointed in the same direction. And here's a challenge I'm sure a lot of you have seen before. You know exactly where the business needs to go. But the problem is, your HR policies, your team structures, they all feel like they're lagging behind, like they're from a different era. There's this huge disconnect. So the way they tackle this is by creating total alignment. They help restructure the organization, they completely redesign those outdated processes, and they build a system to manage talent way more effectively. And crucially, they also find ways to optimize costs and shift the whole mindset towards using data to make decisions. And that move to data is a massive shift. You're going from making decisions based on a gut feel to building a strategy that's actually backed by real insights. Suddenly, HR isn't just a reactive department. It's a strategic partner that's providing real business intelligence. And look, this isn't just theory. They actually helped a big industrial group totally restructure its HR function across all of Europe. They brought in a new HR business partner model and put data right at the center of how they manage performance. I mean, that is a huge, game-changing project. Okay, next up is their second area of focus: securing a company's most important asset, its people. We're talking about high-stakes talent acquisition here.
I mean, we've all seen this play out, right? The pressure is on to fill a critical leadership role, and making the wrong choice, wow, that can be absolutely catastrophic. We're talking about huge financial costs, terrible for team morale, and it can knock the whole company off course.
So their answer is a really disciplined step-by-step process. First, they get super precise about what the role actually needs. Second, they do a seriously rigorous evaluation of the candidates. And third, and this is a part that often gets missed, they provide personalized support to make sure that new person succeeds once they're in the door.
And here's a perfect example. They had to urgently find a new plant director for a really high-pressure factory. But they didn't just find the person and walk away. They provided customized onboarding and coaching for the first 3 months to set them up for long-term success, not just to fill a spot. All right, their next area of focus is all about auditing for real progress. This is about taking a magnifying glass to what's going on inside HR to find ways to make things better. So here's the problem this solves. You've got that nagging feeling that things in HR could be running better. Maybe there are some hidden risks, or maybe some processes are just clunky and slow. But without any objective data, it's just a hunch, right? And you can't drive real change with just a hunch. Well, an audit brings that clarity. Just look at this transformation. What were once hidden risks now become a clear risk map. Those clunky processes turn into actionable insights. And you can actually start to restore trust and fix a low social climate. You go from pure guesswork to strong, informed management. It's a total turnaround. For instance, they did an HR audit for a small to medium business that had multiple locations. They dug into the social climate, mapped out all the risks, and came back with concrete, practical recommendations that directly helped restore trust and made management way more reliable. And finally, let's talk about their work in empowering stronger leaders. This is all about developing the talent you already have through focused managerial coaching. I mean, let's be honest, leadership can be a really tough, lonely job. You might have managers who are brand new to their role, or they're dealing with really tricky team dynamics, or they're trying to lead people through some massive, stressful change. they need support to get through that successfully.
And that's exactly where their coaching comes in. This isn't some abstract therapy session. No, it's focused on concrete actions. The whole point is to develop those critical soft skills, help leaders see the bigger strategic picture, and ultimately build a leadership team that's stronger together.
And here's one last really powerful example. They coached an entire executive team while the company was going through a major governance shift. And the result? You could actually see tangible improvements in how they communicated with each other and how they led as one unified team. So, as we wrap up here, you can see how everything really connects back to this core philosophy. It doesn't matter if it's strategy, recruiting, auditing, or coaching. The approach is always pragmatic, it's always strategic, and it's always human-centric. It's the thread that ties everything they do together. And that really leaves us with one final thought for you. When you think about your own organization, what is the single biggest human challenge you're up against right now? Because figuring that out, well, that's the first real step in accelerating your own transformation.